Is the nervous system making you nervous? Remember that biopsych is all about the brain and the nervous system. So you read about both this past week. Now, if you know your nervous systems and how they break down inside and out, no worries. But if that part of your readings didn't really stick, there's a really helpful study sheet posted for you in this past week's module. So don't forget to print that, put it in question and answer format to study before your next exam. Okay, let's take a closer look at the nervous system. The nervous system consists of your brain and your spinal cord. The sensory nerves in your body, for instance, on the tips of your fingers, send messages to your brain, and your brain sends messages back to the muscles and joints in that area so you can respond to what you're seeing, feeling, hearing, etc. The mapping of the spinal cord is pretty congruent with the placement of the body. So messages from your arms and fingers come in at about arm's height on the spinal cord, right? Messages from your legs and toes enter the bottom of the spinal cord. If you incur an injury to the spinal cord at about waist height, you can become paralyzed from the waist down. If the injury occurs closer to the top of the spinal cord, you can become paralyzed from the neck down. Messages going to the brain travel on what are called afferent fibers, and messages out of the brain travel on efferent fibers. Now, when I was an undergrad, I always remembered that as E is for exit. So efferent fibers carry messages out of the brain, exiting the brain. Here's a really cool test your learning activity. And you get 2 minutes to see how many of these you can recall from your readings, and go. Okay, time is up here. Let's take a look at the answers. So number 1 is the cerebral cortex. Number 2 is the amygdala. So the amygdala is involved in emotion, especially fear. I'm going to quick show you pictures of mice who incurred damage to their amygdalas and lost all their fear. Look at this little guy climbing all over a cat. and another snuggling up to a sleeping cat. Luckily, these cats are mice-friendly, but most are not, so the amygdala is really important. We need reasonable fear to survive. Number 3 is the hippocampus. Number 4 is the medulla. Number 5 is the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is responsible for what are sometimes called the 4 F's related to survival. And those are fighting, fleeing, feeding, and mating. All right, that should make it easy to remember, right? But the 4 F's related to survival. So remember, fighting, fleeing, mating, and feeding. Feeding. One part of your hypothalamus, if it were damaged, you would actually starve yourself to death. If another part were damaged, you would actually eat yourself to death, like this poor little mouse did eventually. Number 6 is the pons. Number 7 is the thalamus. The thalamus is a way station through which most all sensory information must travel before entering the higher brain for interpretation. Number 8 is the pituitary gland. Number 9 is the cerebellum. And the cerebellum, by the way, has a cute little nickname of the little brain. That becomes very evident why it got that nickname when you look at the image of the brain and see it under here, right? It looks like another little brain. Okay, so be sure not to miss this figure of the brain structures posted with your assigned online learning part this past week. Print 2 copies and black out the labels on one. Staple them back to back so you can test yourself. And voila, again, your brain learns so much faster when you can actually test yourself with immediate feedback.